Come, traveller, join me by the campfire. Touch the light in hype sigils if you would like to hear more from us. And remember to subscribe for even more heretical content. Told from the account of Guardsman Kellan Voss, 122nd Cadian Infantry. When the orcs took me, it wasn't in battle. I woke up in a cage that smelled like burned perithium and fungus. It's hard to tell how long I've been here. Could be hours, could be days. There's no sun, just a sick green glow from the tubes that run through the ceiling. The air tastes like oil and teeth. The others didn't last long. The orcs drag us out, one by one, and we don't see them again. Sometimes I hear screaming, sometimes laughing. They call this place a lab. At least that's what the big one, the Weirdboy, calls it. He's massive, bigger than any orc I've seen, draped in copper wires and bits of armor glued to his skin. His skull is covered in crude glyphs that glow faintly when he twitches. The other orcs stay back from him. They look scared. He calls himself Zogstruck, the Magnificent Brain Boy, and he says he's experimenting on me. Zogstruck doesn't use tools the way the Mechanicus do. He uses hammers and teeth. He says he's trying to make a Human WAAAGH. He's obsessed with how humans use the warp. He keeps saying, "Zog in Umi's got a big shiny gate on the sky what does the magic, so I'm gonna make ya do the magics too, see?" He thinks the Emperor is some kind of enormous psycho Weirdboy, the biggest brain git in the galaxy. He wants to make a smaller one. Every day he tries something new. One day he painted my face blue for luck. The next he strapped an orc skull to my head with wires and yelled, "Think louder, ya git!" while lightning danced around the room. Sometimes it worked. The air shimmered, metal warps, squigs explode. Sometimes it doesn't. There's a corner of the lab where everything's wrong. It's like looking through broken glass. There's a humming there, and bones that move when you're not looking. Zogstruck calls it the brainy bit. He says it's where he keeps the spare warp. The other prisoners are gone now. One of them, a tech adept from Armageddon, survived long enough to whisper that the Weirdboy's experiments were stabilizing psychic leakage, whatever that means. Before he died, he said the orcs' experiments were working, that the air itself was becoming alive. I didn't believe him until I started to hear voices. Not orc voices, human ones. They whisper prayers, they ask for light, they beg me to listen. Zogstruck says that means the Umi field is waking up, and he's proud of it. Today, he says, we're ready for the big test. He built a contraption, half generator, half idle, made of tank parts, engine cores and bones. He painted it blue, black and yellow. It hums like it's alive. He calls it the Human WAAAGH box. He says it'll make me see the big golden geek myself. He straps me in, laughing like thunder. The machine roars. The air goes white. I feel my blood turn to light. The walls melt to static. And then I see him. Not the Emperor as the Ecclesiarchy paints him. Not a man of gold on a throne, but something vast. A shape of fire and will that fills eternity. And through that fire, I see the orcs, millions of them, all laughing, fighting, feeding the warp with noise and life. And behind it all, I see Zogstruck, a tiny, cackling silhouette, hammering on the walls of reality. He's trying to talk to it. And the terrifying part is, something answers. A voice like thunder speaking in York's tongue. Who dares? Zogstruck just laughs. Me, Zogstruck the Magnificent, the smartest weird boy there ever was. The fire reaches for him. He doesn't run. He cheers. The light devours everything. I woke up outside, laying in mud. The sky was black, full of green lightning. The camp was gone. Burned, twisted, melted into a crater of glass. No orcs, no weird boy, just me. My skin glows faintly blue now. Machine hums when I walk past, and sometimes I can hear laughter in the rain. When I sleep, I dream of Zogstruck. He's still hammering away, somewhere beyond the veil, arguing with gods. He turns to me and shouts, "See, I told you it worked. Now you're one of us." Then I wake up, and the ground trembles. When they found me, I was half buried in ash. The recon patrol from 122nd had been combing the wasteland for survivors after the orcs' retreat. They thought I was dead, until I screamed when they tried to tag me for cremation. They dragged me aboard a Valkyrie, covered me in blankets, and flew me back to the forward field hospital. They said I was lucky, but I could tell from their eyes. None of them wanted to touch me, because the air around me, it hummed. The Medicaid couldn't explain it. Their Auspex scanners flickered when they approached. Vox units stuttered. Las scalpels misfired. One of the surgeons muttered something about electrostatic interference. Another crossed himself and whispered, "Emperor preserve us." When I spoke, lights dimmed. When I closed my eyes, the machines whispered back. That's when the Commissar came. Commissar Darren. The kind of man who could stare down a tank barrel and make it apologise. He asked what happened. I told him about the Ork camp, the weird boy, the machine, the light. He didn't interrupt. He just watched me like a hawk watches a rat. When I finished, he nodded once and said, "The astropath will see you now." They brought me to a tent lined with parchment and burning incense. Inside sat a woman in chains, her eyes burnt out, skin pale, crackled like marble. She was an astropath assigned to our regiment, Sister Althera. She smiled when I entered, even though she couldn't see me. "I felt you coming," she said softly. "The storm follows you." Her voice echoed in my skull. She asked me to sit, then reached out, her fingers trembling just above my brow. And then everything stopped. The world vanished. I was back in the white fire, the same endless void where I'd seen the Emperor's light. Only now, the light wasn't golden, it was green. Althera grasped. Her hand snapped back, as if burned. Her eyes bled. She whispered one word. "WAAAGH." Then she screamed. They locked me in an isolation cell in the command bunker. Lead-lined walls, null field dampeners, and a pair of Sisters of Silence stationed outside. I didn't resist. I couldn't. Every night I hear the weird boy laughing. Every night the walls hum a little louder. Through a slit in my door, I saw them carry out Althera's body. Her veins had turned black, her mouth frozen mid-laugh. The Medicae said she died of psychic feedback. For I saw the marks on her hands, shaped like orc glyphs. They think I'm infected. They're right. 3 days later, an Inquisitorial shuttle landed. The rosette on his chest gleamed like a wound. Inquisitor Vaughn, Ordo Xenos. He asked the commissar to leave, then spoke to me alone. He was calm, cold. He called me Subject Boss. He said they'd been tracking strange warp anomalies since the battle, and that I was a vector. Then he asked if I'd seen it. I didn't need to ask what he meant. I said yes. I told him about Zogstruck, about the machine, about the light, about the Emperor, and the voice that spoke from beyond. Vaughn didn't write anything down. He just stared at me. Then he said, "The Ork, the weird boy, he breached something we don't understand. The Ork's collective field interacts with the warp differently. It's crude, but pure. They don't filter it through faith or fear. It's raw creation." He leaned in closer, and now it's inside you. He turned to the guards. "Prepare containment for transport. We're taking him to Titan." Titan? The Grey Knight's world. That's when I realised they weren't taking me for treatment. They were taking me for an execution. That night, the lights went out. The null field generators failed. The sisters screamed before they could raise their blades. I felt it, like a hum in my bones swelling to a roar. The air filled with green lightning, and through it, I heard Zogstruck's voice again. "See, I told ya, you're one of us now." The walls melted, the chains broke, and for the first time, I laughed. The laughter echoed through the camp like thunder. Machines came alive, tearing free from their mounts. The Voxcasters blared orcish war chants in binary. Men fell to their knees, bleeding from their eyes. In the chaos, I saw the Inquisitor standing firm, his rosette glowing. He raised his bolt pistol and shouted, "In the name of the Emperor, I release you from this taint." I remember the flash, and then nothing. I woke again, not in a cell, not on a battlefield, somewhere deeper. The ground beneath me is metal, humming with power. There are glyphs on the walls, Imperial and Ork, woven together like veins. I think I'm inside the machine again, but this time, I am the machine. When I close my eyes, I see green light spreading through the stars. A new kind of WAAAGH energy, fused with human faith. And I hear two voices now. Zogstruck still laughing, and another, vast and golden, whispering, "My child, what have they made you?" The light flares, and laughter becomes one. They say the Emperor's light guides every ship through the warp. I used to believe that. Now, when I close my eyes, I see another light alongside it. Green, roaring, alive. It laughs as it burns. They think I'm dead. Maybe I am. But death doesn't mean much when the warp remembers your name. The first thing I felt was pressure, like the whole galaxy breathing against my skull. Then came the voices. Not the orcs this time. Humans. Millions of them. Praying, shouting, dying. Their words poured into me and came out wrong. Twisted, louder, full of joy. It was like the warp itself had learned to grin. I realized with a kind of horror that I could hear the Astronomicon, not as a beacon, but as a song, and threaded through that holy chorus was something new. A rhythm of drums, engine roars, and fists pounding metal. The Inquisition calls it a resonance phenomenon. I call it a laugh. Everywhere I go, if I'm still going anywhere, reality ripples with it. Astropaths feel it before they die. Box lines crackle with it. Reactors flare bright green. When a guardsman somewhere charges the enemy shouting, "For the Emperor!" I feel the echo, and a spark of courage turned into raw, physical energy. And then the orcs answer. They can feel it too. Across light years, they turn their heads and grin, sensing a challenge. A rival WAAAGH, made of human souls. One night, if time still means anything, I sensed them. A cruiser, the vigilant absolution, cutting through the void near my storm. The crew prayed to the Emperor for safe passage. Their gala field flickered green. Through the steel and the screaming warp, I touched their minds, not to harm them, but to warn them. Stay clear, I said. I'm not what you think I am. But the moment they heard my voice, the ship's choir started chanting. not the Imperial creed, something new. Glory to the laughing lights. I tried to stop them. I tried to silence the storm. Instead, the laughter grew. The absolution vanished into the warp without a trace. Only the echo of laughter reached real space. A human laugh, followed by the thunder of orc drums. I see now what Zogstruck did. He didn't just experiment on me. He opened a bridge between belief and instinct, between order and madness. Humans believe, orcs know. Their faith makes things happen because they never doubt. When those two forces touch, the warp doesn't choose sides, it creates. Maybe that's what the Emperor wanted all along. Maybe he needed something that could laugh in the face of eternity. The storm is growing. I can feel it spreading through the sector. A field of light and noise that bends probability, fuels courage, heals wounds mid-battle. They'll call it heresy. They'll send Grey Knights, Sisters, Inquisitors. They'll burn 1,000 worlds to stop it. But the thing about laughter is, once it starts, it's hard to kill. I can feel the orcs out there, drawn to it, not angry, amused. They want to see who this new Human WAAAGH is. And when they find me, oh, there'll be a fight worth remembering. Because I'm not just Kellan Voss anymore. I'm the echo of every guardsman who ever shouted a battle cry and meant it. I'm the spark between faith and fury. I'm what happens when humanity finally stops fearing the storm and joins in the laugh. There's no sky here anymore, just light and noise. This isn't the warp the way the navigators see it. It's alive, moving to a rhythm that comes from every heart that still believes it can win. When I reach out, I don't touch space, I touch armies, regiments on 500 worlds, all fighting, all shouting the same word, Emperor! Every cry is a spark, every spark adds to the storm that bears my name. Greenskins sense it first. They stop bellowing long enough, they listen and start laughing. A proper fight, they think. Something big enough to hit back. And when they charge, the air between us shines white-green, as if faith and fury can't decide which one owns it. I don't command this. It moves through me. When soldiers raise their bayonets, when tank crews whisper their last prayer to the throne, their courage folds into the roar. Bolter shells fly straighter, armour runs hotter, engines refuse to die. The men call it the Emperor's laugh. The orcs call it the Human WAAAGH. For the first time in history, they shout it together. A sound so huge that planets tremble beneath it. In the middle of that storm, I see two shapes, standing across from each other like reflections in broken glass. One is the Emperor, gold, silent and infinite. The other is Zogstruck, draped in sparks, still grinning. They look at each other, then both turn their gaze towards me. See? The weird boy says. Told you humans could do it. The Emperor doesn't speak. He just raises a hand, and the laughter stops long enough for me to hear a single thought. Balance. Then the storm surges again, twice as bright. Across the sector, reports pour in. Ork war bands stop in mid-battle to cheer. Imperial regiments fighting without orders for 3 days straight and winning. Stained statues weeping green light. The Mechanicus calls it an energy contagion. The Inquisition calls it psychic heresy. I call it proof. For the first time, humans and orcs share the same song. Not peace, no, never that, but the same rhythm of war. I can feel myself dissolving into it. Every heartbeat adds another drum. Every breath becomes a cheer. I'm not a man anymore, not really. But I remember what it felt like to be one. To be small and afraid, and still charge anyway. This is what this is made of. Fear that refuses to stop. If the Emperor is the light that guides, then maybe I'm the noise that keeps it burning. When the next dawn rises over 1,000 battlefields, the sky is split by a single voice, half prayer, half laughter. WAAAGH for the Emperor! I can't tell if it comes from humans or orcs anymore. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the galaxy finally understands what war and faith were always the same thing. They tell this as legend now. The Administratum lists incident M41.889-Gamma, the Human WAAAGH, an anomaly of faith and violence that swept 3 sectors before fading into silence. But I have seen the sealed records. I know what it really was. When the storm finally broke, every astropath in the Segmentum Solar felt the shock. Some described it as laughter, others as a battle hymn that ended in a single heartbeat of peace. The warp boiled and then calmed. Too calm. For 50 standard years, warp travel in that region was smoother than any navigator could remember. No demonic incursions, no warp ghosts, no storms. Priests called it a miracle. The Inquisition called it containment achieved. The orcs called it the best scrap whatever was, and started painting their banners half blue, half gold. Centuries later, a minor preacher on Hydrax 7 claimed to receive visions from a laughing light. He taught that courage and joy in battle were the Emperor's truest prayers. His creed spread quickly and quietly among the regiments on the frontier. They fought harder, died smiling, and sometimes their lasguns flared green for a heartbeat when they fired. The Ecclesiarchy burned his texts, but never found the source. Among the Mechanicus, fragments of data chant mention Kellan Voss, an energy signature that combines human soul frequencies with orchid psionics. No one admits to studying it, yet the files keep updating themselves. I have read one report that chilled me more than any demonology. The Grey Knight Librarian described meditating beside the Emperor's golden throne during the conjunction of valor. He heard a sound echoing beneath the Astronomican's hymn, a deep, rolling chuckle, like thunder finding joy in its own echo. When he looked into the light, he saw not faces, but teeth, grinning, countless, and radiant. He wept and wrote only one line before sealing the record. The master of mankind smiles again. Now, in every war zone, when a guardsman stands against the impossible and laughs through his fear, instruments flicker green for an instant. The priests call it static, the soldiers, they call it luck. But I know it's him, the man who was once Kellan Voss, the voice that bridged belief and instinct. Perhaps the Emperor absorbed that spark. Perhaps the galaxy still echoes with its memory. Either way, the laugh endures. And in this age of endless war, maybe that's enough.